Hello, my inner circle friend. Here we go on with Heidegger a little bit further. So we'll be talking about the world that we find ourselves within. Because being human, we have discovered, is extremely anxiety-provoking. Human beings tend to be ill at ease, remember, unheimlich, in this uncertain world in which we are hurled towards the end. We are moved all the time by the fact that we are thrown towards death. For we are in that throw, being thrown, and we are fated to continuously move towards the completion of the project that is our life, which is essentially only possible to fulfill in death, because until that moment it can be changed, because it's being changed all the time. Human beings are not aware of their ontological position, their position of being, remember? They get caught up in ontic, everyday struggles and forget what it truly means to be alive. There's so much that eludes us because we do not direct our attention to it. And we also do not reflect upon it. Much of our living is done by default rather than by deliberation. We do not decide to do things, we just do it. And so it seems that we have no free will. But it makes no difference to the fact that each of us has their own life to live, and that we need to decide on how to conduct our own existence. In order to do this, we need to find out what there is in the world. Heidegger addresses the complexities of human experience in great systematic detail, slowly and thoroughly, a lot too slowly and too thoroughly for many people. He aims to describe and explore the intricate layers upon layers of the mysteries every day. He does this in such a way as to reinvest ordinary concepts with new poignancy. Unfortunately, this is often achieved by use of jargon, and in doing so, it mystifies the ordinary things that Heidegger was seeking to bring out about everyday existence. The first thing that strikes us is that we are living our life against the horizon of a world which is a given and which is already there when we come into it. We are thrown into this world, whether we like it or not, and we are fully absorbed and taken over by it and its many demands. We become aware that we live in a particular environment, and in the world around us we encounter certain givens in the shape of objects. We come across objects in the first instance as things that are ready to hand, zu handen. It means they are there as artifacts and tools for us to make use of. I know how to use the glass. I know it can contain my drink and I can drink that way. Things like a hammer and a pen, a cup or a spoon are all available to me to use as equipment. And I do so without ever questioning it. In order to use these objects, I look after them with some circumspection. I am careful not to break the glass or not to fill it up too much. I have to use them in a deliberate manner. But I can also become aware of these things malfunctioning. And then they become an obstacle in my world. And that's when I become aware that the things I relate to are always related to me in a particular fashion. They are, for instance, functional or dysfunctional, close or near or far. I now realize that the relation and distance between me and an object is a function of my use of it. The bus that I run for to try and catch it desperately seems closer at that moment than the ground under my feet, and I will intentionally exaggerate the connection between me and the bus and forget about the ground under my feet. And that's precisely why, when I'm in a rush to catch that bus, I am much more likely to stumble and fall, because my focus becomes far away and I bring that near, and I bring the nearby far away from my attention. I fail to pay proper attention to it. The direction of my life is determined by what I leave behind. The direction of my life is determined by what I decide to leave behind and what I am on the way towards. This movement, this intentionality of my movement decides what happens to my world. By concentrating on certain things rather than on others, I can bring things closer. My intentionality, the way in which I direct my consciousness towards the world, plays a crucial role in the way in which I constitute the world. I create the world by my intentionality. My world is always centered around the particular place in which I find myself. I'm always here, never there. In the same way in which it's always today, never yesterday or tomorrow. What is yonder cannot come near, for when it is near, the yonder is no longer yonder but near, and there is a new yonder which is still over there rather than here. In other words, you cannot be everywhere at the same time, and you can only live one day at a time. Because of this, the world is not a neutral place. It is laden with value according to what I bring near or keep far away from me. It is only in a secondary way that I can grasp the presence of things in the world as not related to me as tools or equipment. The reality of things that do not have special meaning to me is that of things that are present at hand, or as simply there in their own right, random objects standing around that I do not particularly want to use. Those things are vorhanden in German rather than zuhanden, present at hand but not to hand. There is a world full of things just lying around, waiting to be used by me. But all these things are not yet directly at my disposal. Next week, I'll read you the passage about the world of other people. And after that, we'll be on to talking about authenticity and inauthenticity. Thank you for sticking with Heidegger, and do ask me any questions you need in order to comprehend it and actually make it part of your understanding rather than just giving yourself a headache with it. See you on Sunday, my friends. Bye.